All right. So we're coming together to play the third session of 4 of Lord Scurlock. I have some phenomenal players, and we have kind of been, we've been moving through the dark secrets of the Scurlock line. And I'm going to have everybody introduce themselves and just give a quick little bit about their character. And then I'll kind of go over where we've been and then start us rolling. I'll just take it down the line. So, Kyle, would you like to introduce yourself and your character?
Yeah, I am Kyle. I am playing Edmund. He is a longtime servant of the Scurlocks. Yeah, old mentor to all these potential new Lord Scurlocks.
All right, Robert.
Oh, that's me. Well, my name is Robert, and I will be reprising my role as Bastian Scurlock. I am a wonder from the wild blue, a sort of cyberpunky, steampunky mechanical automaton that was created by Lord Scurlock himself and jump-started with his own brainwaves.
Excellent. And Michael?
Yeah, so I'm playing Tertius Scurlock, the kind of outcast son who spent many years out in the deep blue as a sky pirate who's come home for his father's funeral and to maybe try and recapture some of those criminal connections. He seems to be getting a little bit closer to the others. Beating up a bunch of thugs can really bring the family together.
All right. And Spencer?
I'm playing as Aris Scurlock, kind of a noble, haughty, well-to-do sorcerer type, and I feel like the opposite as far as fighting a bunch of baddies goes. But we'll see how that goes.
All right. And indeed, our last couple of sessions, we have brought the family together at Lord Scurlock's funeral and been informed of the many debts that their father and former employer had run up. There's a great long list of people who are just knocking on the door trying to get their money back from Lord Scurlock. We've also discovered that Lord Scurlock had a rather dark side to him. We have discovered that he and a friend, a Mr. Lord Holpine, who is also a magistrate, had patroned 3 orphanages here in town and had been taking orphans from these orphanages and some of them giving for training the local crime lord, a goblin named Cudger, and some others taking back to his home and through some process or another, killing them, each of them being found with an enormous smile and a look of euphoric glee, but dead nonetheless. And our young Scurlocks had, in discovering this, done some investigating, gone off to, Baston had gone off to the orphanage and continued working with one of these headmistresses of the orphanage to continue this practice. We had young Tertius, the youngest son, though not exactly young, I imagine he's in his 30s or early 30s, has managed to find this Cudger and to discuss with him that Cudger had been intending to run an insurance sort of extortion on the house. But Tertius managed to talk to him in a language he understood so that they could continue the little back and forth of providing him new recruits from the orphanages. Along with that, also discussing some of his drug trade. And Aris had been spoken to by a disembodied voice, and finally had gone down to discover in these lower levels beneath the house the canal access and a great door there where a lady we'll say, named Satara, had offered him tremendous power if he would help her, would open this door, become part with her. She mentioned that he needed the key, and it needed to be the Lord Scurlock to open the door. All of this, poor Jetman, seeing this new generation of Scurlocks following in the horrible, horrible footsteps of their father, has been trying to keep them away from some of this dark things that are going on. Along with that, we'd had a painting that had been delivered of Lord Scurlock, but in the background of the painting is an image, another painting in the background there of a beautiful woman that we have determined to be Annika Wyeth, who was the wife of Lord Wyeth, and we have the impression that Lord Scurlock was very much enamored with her. She disappeared at roughly the same time that Aris was born. And let's see, am I missing anything else we might have learned? I believe we had Baston suggesting the continuation of bringing in orphans for possible sacrifice to whatever lurks below, and saying that he probably should be Lord Scurlock as well. But that conversation was interrupted by a set of thugs who had broken into the house. They were surprised when they were discovered by Tertius, who, calling to the rest of the family, they laid waste upon these thugs. These thugs didn't know what hit them, and killed all but one, who is currently lying there in kind of semi-conscious on the stairs. And that's where we had left off. Tertius, why don't we start with you there? With this, I think you were the closest to the thug.
Well, I think I'm trying to slap him awake then, being like, "Who sent you? Who are you?" And if he's got any kind of mascot, I've pulled that off by now.
Okay. And you had seen some scarification on one, and he has it the same that indicates he's a member of the Eel Gang, which is a rival gang against Cudger's own gang. And as you slap him, he looks up. Just kill me. I'm dead already.
I go, "Oh, better to make you suffer, don't you think, guys?"
All in good time.
Have patience, patience. You've made it this far, haven't you? Good 30 years of life. What's another 10 years in a dungeon gonna do for you?
It ain't a dungeon I'm afraid of. You've caught me. My life's forfeit for sure.
Well, it's not, whoever sent you, I mean, I don't know how far their reach extends, but, if you do cooperate with us, maybe I can get you off world, put you to work out there in the good old wilds.
Off world?
Oh, yeah. I'm a, I don't know if you recognize me, maybe not, because you've been down here planet side the whole time, but I'm a big-time sky pirate. If you work with us, if you're honest with us about who sent you, then maybe I can get you on a cruise somewhere out there.
Off-world may be the only place Liza can't find me. You weren't supposed to be this tough. You're supposed to be get in, get out.
Well, apparently somebody didn't tell you the full story then, did they? Do you have any idea, Liza? Is that your boss or the person who paid you for this mission, or what?
That's my boss. You don't know who Liza is?
Well, like I said, I've been gone for quite a while. I don't spend much time down here on the in Elysium.
Enough sweet talk. Get to the point. Who sent you? What are you here for?
Look, Liza's queen of the ales. She sent me. She told me it was an easy job. I don't know exactly who put her up to it. Some knob, as far as I could tell. We're just supposed to find a painting.
God damn it. Wyeth. I don't know who else it could be. I told him, I invited him over. You know, I thought that he'd maybe make us an offer or something. It seems like he's resorted to other measures.
Look, if Liza knows that I've been caught, I'm a dead man.
Look, like I said, you know, we'll hold on to you for a bit. Maybe you'll be useful as leverage or something we can feed to a demon or something. I don't know. And if everything works out for you, like I said, I've got connections. I can get you off world pretty easily.
All right, fine.
Bastion, with his side of his metallic face scorched with sort of dripping leather burnt bits, just reaches over, grabs him with his mechanical arm, and snaps his neck.
Oh, fuck.
Enough.
And I'm looking back and forth between you and Eris and being like, you know, the two of you been pretty eager to just kill these guys off.
You were the one, brother, who started the attack. I wish to question them before this even got started. You have acquired the necessary information. This one is nothing but a weak liability.
I'm not so sure. I mean, you know, he's no match for, you know, no match for Tertius Scurlock, of course, but could have been some use. Besides, you don't know what information this guy has. There's all sorts of stuff we could have done with this guy. What I don't get is why the two of you felt so compelled to kill every single one of them. Unless one of you is working with Jaster Wyeth.
You are the one who rushed in with the attack. We followed up with support.
There's a difference between attacking and killing, Bastion. You know, I don't know if you know that, but Eris, you certainly do.
Tertius, we're all very impressed that you're able to talk to people after they've been burnt alive and tackled by your friends. But what's really going on here is we've got leverage over Mr. Wyeth, who has some demands of us, and I think those need to be taken care of.
Oh, he'll love demands coming from you, of all people.
Bastion loses patience with the conversation and marches off toward where the painting is to analyze it.
Okay. Trump.
Chomp.
Gentlemen, you've just been a part of this pretty much cold-blooded murder there.
It was self-defense. Stand your ground, baby.
I don't know.
Gentlemen, you're muted.
Yeah, I think Jedman's like muttering and wringing his hands and saying like, "Oh, back in our day, like this is unheard of." And then he'll start cleaning up the bodies. I'm sure he has some sort of maybe dumps them in the canal or something.
All right. So you start pulling these bodies together. Aris, what are you doing?
So just to be clear, did Bastion leave the room then?
Yes. Yeah. Marched up the stairs toward where the painting is.
Perfect. Okay, so while the bodies are being cleaned up, I'm pretty furious, kind of bloodlust, and we all heard what Bastion wanted to do. Jedman, where we were before this all happened was discussing how incapable a robot is of being the Lord Scurlock. You've got to agree.
Eris, you're just as bloodthirsty. You killed 3 men right here.
And I enjoyed every moment of it.
You gotta have a reason when you kill people. I'm a sky pirate. I do this for a living. If you just kill people willy-nilly, you're eventually gonna run out of luck. If you kill people when you got a reason for it, though, if you give people a chance, you make them work for you, then you can get somewhere.
I'll pick up one of the bodies, kind of by the scruff of his shirt, and say, "Oh, I've got a use for him. I'm going to be paying a visit to what's his name with the painting, Lord Wyeth tonight, and our friend here is gonna go with me."
Whew. Judman never thought he'd be saying this, but he mutters about how Tertius seems to have the most head on his shoulder, like last thing he would have expected knowing these guys growing up, but it seems like the most level-headed of the bunch.
By now I'm chasing after Bastion because I don't trust him with that painting. I think I like Tertius is thinking that either Bastion or Eris or both might be in league with Jaster Wyeth because they killed these guys before we really had a chance to get the real details from them.
Mm-hmm. All right, so you head up the stairs to where the kind of the painting had been taken to the study, I believe, and so y'all had maneuvered to head off to where it is. Bastion's heading off towards it. And as you come up behind him, Bastion, you have gotten into the room, and the painting is sitting there where it had been unwrapped and looked at and put
I imagine
away.
it's probably sort of sitting prominently on an easel in the center of the room with like, a red car. Because I think we were planning to show it to the Lord who was interested, correct?
Yes.
So I sense my brother coming up behind me, and as I'm walking towards the painting, my head actually swivels around to be looking directly at him behind me, and say, Tertius, I hope you realize, or I wish to apologize for being curt with you earlier. I was somewhat upset by your charge in when I tried to question them to begin with, so that was definitely out of parameters for this particular exercise. However, I wish to remind you that the financial situation of our family at the moment does not support keeping long-term prisoners. Yeah. And then as I'm walking up towards the painting, my head will swivel back around, and I'll activate my scanner. I guess I have a. Now, hold on, I can't find. I've got all my other sheets, but I don't have my character sheet. Where the hell is it? Oh, here it is. Okay, so Bastion. So I have I think I activated a. What was it? The
Etheric connector.
Yeah, the etheric connector. I can also scan for life, energy, etheric connection at the moment, and I guess that's probably all I have. Interface, presence, bargaining, nobles. Nope. I think that would maybe nobles could come into play, but I'm going to analyze this painting front and back, the frame, the the binding, but I'm suspecting there's something magical about it.
Why don't you build up a pool there
Right.
to do that?
Roll
And
art
turn-
criticism.
So as I remember it, I get 1 for Wondrous, 1 for Sensor, and then 1 for Scan and 1 for Etheric Connection.
You would get 2 for scan because it's in italics.
Oh, okay, 2 for Scan. So I would then get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
5.
So 5 plus, I'm going to add in 2 from my pool.
Okay, pull them up.
So-
Just to ask, Tertius, are you doing anything to help him in this? You certainly do not have to.
If I do something, does it have to be directly connected to my skills?
No, it would be you describing something. It could even be something like, "Well, hey, look at that," or giving in close, or giving some opinion.
Well,
but you're just adding a die.
So I know the deal with Annika Wyeth, so I'm going to look at it and see if I can get any extra insights from that.
All right.
Throw it in there.
So you hand off a die, and
So
Robert.
then I have, okay, so I have 6, or I roll 5 plus the 1 he gave me.
Mhm.
So,
and yours.
Did the 5 roll? Oh no, I gotta submit. There we go. There we go. So and then I roll his.
I'll re-roll this, or do you want to re-roll it?
Oh no, you roll it, and then I roll my 2.
I get this an even one.
Nice.
And then I roll the selected. So I got a 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
That is incredible. It's an absolutely amazing roll.
And given like there's sparks and sizzling bits coming out from between the scorched, bronze plating on my head from where I took the flame from Eris's blast, and I am obviously somewhat malfunctioning. Yet, my scan like lights up the front of the painting.
I'm patting him down with the handkerchief so none of the sparks get on the painting.
Excellent. As the two of you, and you're scanned with this light shining on it, and Tertius, as you're looking at it, one thing that strikes you is you see in this woman there is a resemblance to your brother. Now that you're looking at it, you could see maybe it's something in the eyes, or maybe his somewhat fairer hair. But
of course there is
something you could see it there. While you, Bastion, as you're giving this thing, again, masterfully painted, beautiful brushstroke, but there is a magical influence on the image of the woman in that background.
So if I remember correctly, the painting we're looking at here is a painting of Lord Scurlock, and behind him on the wall is a painting of a woman.
Correct. And as far as Jedman knew, he doesn't know where that painting is. He'd never seen it before.
And we didn't find it in Uncle Allward's place either.
No.
So could we possibly assume that the painting they're actually looking for is that painting, the one that is hanging on the wall in the picture, or are they looking for this painting?
As far as you know, Wyeth only knows that she was making this painting. But again, and it's just that little bit.
And that little bit is it's tied to the etheric.
Yes.
So, brother, this painting, this section of the painting seems to have a tether to the etheric plane. There is something about it that is bound to that which is beyond.
Well, that is Eris' mother, I say.
Woo!
It's like ding,
When I say this, I'm kind of counting on him to reveal this at just the right moment later on, because I know that Bastion sometimes, can't keep his thoughts to himself.
My head slowly rotates to my brother with, actually, if you can have a look of shock and surprise and an electronic eye, it's there, and says, "Brother, I know that sometimes I come off curt or sometimes less than human, but everything I do for this family, to carry on the father's name and to support the desires, ambitions of my family, which yourself included. I think it best that we not bring this to our brother's attention. I do not think it would bode well for him to have this knowledge."
Why not? I mean, he should know of his parentage.
He should know of his parentage, but he believes himself to be a pure-blooded Scurlock.
Well, I mean, it would certainly simplify things for us if you weren't. Although I guess, you were, after all, crafted out of machine parts, although you do have his voice and seem to be taking on aspects of his demeanor.
I possess a great deal of his memories, though I have difficulty accessing them at times. This makes me very close to our father.
Do you have any sense of why he sent you off? Was there some kind of mission that he sent you on, or
at first? Okay, I'm assuming he was sent me off for some like red herring. That I was off on look for some actual magical thing, some trinket, but I never found it. And since I've come back, I've come to realize that this was a red herring. So I will say, I believe it was our father's intention for my presence to not be a handicap upon those tasks he was undertaking in those last 6 months of his life. I am endeavoring to find out what it is he was trying to do and how he intended for it to benefit this family. For I know, as deep in myself, that the only thing of concern to Lord Scurlock was the family.
You can be so sure of that he's killing women in the basement for the sake of everybody? He was, look, I smoke some of the same stuff he does, and I can't imagine he was doing that for our sake.
Perhaps his intentions were less than lucid in his last days. However, I firmly believe what he was doing was both a public service, ridding the world of urchins and those who are less than productive in society, as well as providing them a very pleasurable final life experience. At the same time, he was gathering power for some purpose I can only assume would benefit the house.
I mean, he kicked me out of home at 16. It's hard for me to think that he was doing everything for the family.
Can we do a flashback here?
Sure, I'm down for it.
I had this idea, over the last couple of weeks about, following the thing. So, I'm going to frame the flashback and then we'll ad lib it as it goes. So, this happened like 40 years ago, or about 30 years ago. You're probably about 38. So I'm thinking you were in your teens and you are wheeling me on a cart, and I mean I'm literally in pieces with molten bits of slag hanging off of me, where Aris had been using me for magical fire practice, and you're wheeling me into the lab to put me back together. I mean, my head's intact, and the idea is that we have to cover for each other when our father discovers us in there.
Sound good?
Does it seem like something you guys want to play out?
Sure.
All right. So, as we move on, I promise, brother, I will keep the secret.
Wait, are you covering for me or for him?
I'm covering. I'm kind of wanting to see where this goes. I'm kind of playing this from the point of view of like, Monster of the Week, where you just try to play to find out what happens. So okay. I was thinking along the lines of there was some sort of bullying kind of thing going on between the two of you, but then things got out of hand and I stepped in and I ended up getting slagged. And Tertius had actually saved me at that point in time.
Okay, I just wanted to be clear if I was in the scene or if it was just the two.
You can be in the scene. I mean, I'm really open to this. I just thought it might be an interesting spin on kind of bringing Bastion back into the family as I kind of moved myself out in the last session.
Okay, yeah, I'll look for an opening. Go ahead, though.
All right.
And cover for me, I was completely uninvolved in this. I don't know what you mean cover for me.
Well, the situation with you and your brother, the teasing has gotten out of hand. And then when those goblins showed up, all hell broke loose. But if our father knows that those goblins were...
The goblins are no concern. I mean, we can beat the hell out of some goblins. We proved that much. I mean, if anything, I'd be concerned for them.
Well, there would be no concern anymore, or at least not that group. Would you mind handing me that part over there on the wall?
Oh, sure. I'll hand that to you. Right. So you know how to put yourself back together again?
I know parts. But I may need your assistance here. So I kind of using the one good arm, I kind of snap the other one on, and then I'll be like, well, those crystals on the wall over there, could you snap them into the socket on the back there?
Which crystals? The purple ones or the white ones?
The purple ones. Definitely not the blue ones. Definitely not the blue ones. The purple ones.
They're pretty close to each other in color, but I'll try these out.
I think at this point, I will have followed them upstairs, and I'll burst in and be like, "Are you still crying about that? Come on, you're not gonna rat on me. It was an accident."
Yes, brother, we know. But this sort of badgering, we need to find another target for your studies.
Oh, why don't we invite those goblins over again?
There are always more where they come from. And as you place the crystal into my back, my eyes sort of flash shut down and the emotion just drains out of me. And I come back up. Thank you. And now that armature. And then we kind of flash forward back. So unless you want to continue, if you have more ideas.
I was just going to grumble about how creepy you were.
I'm trying to play that up.
Okay. So we had this moment of seeing in y'all's youth how you were kind of closer,
right?
How things were different.
Until like that point, and that's kind of the point where the three of us kind of separated, so to speak. So, and now we find ourselves back in the present, and we're in front of the painting, and you're discussing. You mentioned that this is Aris's mother, and I've noticed that there's something magical about the painting, and I have no ideas from this point.
Well, I think I'm going to cut over to Jedman and Aris. You're there with these bodies. Jedman, are you attempting to haul all of them but the one that Aris has claimed away? Where are you thinking of just dumping them in the canal? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I think he's like tidying up, but trying to he hasn't got to the body moving spot yet, but he's putting out any fires, snuffing stuff out, doing a bit of tidying. And he probably turns. He probably turns to Aris, and says, "You want to give me a hand with one of these?" And he goes to pick one of them up by the underneath the arms, kind of thing.
Yeah, so I'll snap my fingers and say they're magical flames, and any flames that are left go out, and then I'll pick him up by his feet. I can't believe that you think that Tertius should lead this house. You know what he does for a living, don't you?
Yes. Well, yeah. I mean, he gets by. That. Oh, when I look at you boys, and I see your father, he had those traits too, and that troubles me less than the darker sides of his secrets.
What I want to do is I want to tie up the loose ends and put a polish on this place. I want to clear our debts. I want to stop this business with body snatching. Both of them think that that's perfectly okay. Jedmund, please.
Well, you feel sincere. I don't think it's my place to decide who will take over. But I'm sure you would do a great job, lad.
Out of curiosity, where did you decide where we're dumping these bodies?
Yeah, maybe let's. I was gonna put them in the water, in the basement. Was my thought process.
Okay. So as we get down there, I'm gonna turn the conversation to that and say, does this passage, the water, lead anywhere? I mean, no fault of yours, but did Dad have somebody? Did he row these away, or are there girls down there?
It's a good question, Jedman. Yeah, go ahead. Well, do you think that there was someone arranged to pick them up when you would dump them, or did y'all just tie rocks and set them adrift?
I think
maybe there's a whirlpool chamber.
What was that?
Maybe there's a whirlpool chamber further down the passage.
It's possible. It could, sink down into the canal.
Right. Yeah, no, well, I think there's been mention to people seeing the bodies afterwards. So yeah, maybe we're just stashing them, and Jedman will arrange later for First Connection to come pick up.
Right, because I mean, we at least have heard at one point Cudger was helping him get rid of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so y'all are hauling him down. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Ars.
Oh yeah. So I guess Jedman, is that something? Are you going to let me in on that, or are we just setting him there and you're going to pretend like you're taking care of him later? I want to know if I get privileged to the information that Cudger helped that process.
Yeah, I think if Aris is like inquiring,
okay.
Jedman will say, like, you know, I'm not going to be around forever. You boys need to know how to take care of these unpleasant.
With that in mind, do you mind letting me know the hour that they're set to pick them up?
I haven't made contact yet, but normally, you know, that they come rowing in on a dark night. You know.
Yeah. And Jedman, as far as you saying you're not going to be around forever, I think you've done your part. I don't think you need to be around forever. I think it's about time you get your dues. What do you say?
I appreciate the sentiment, but I think I'll stick around a bit longer. I'd hate to abandon you guys in a sinking ship. So.
Well, you could set it afloat and find yourself on your own private island with a heap of gold. Wink.
Well, that sounds mighty nice.
Okay, we'll cut scene then with now. Arish, you had said something last time about, well, I've got something I'm going to do with him earlier. There, are you still hanging on to one of these bodies?
Yeah. So I will take one of the 3 remaining, and I'm going to pay a visit to. It's him. It's that one that I always forget his name. Wyeth. Thank you, Lord Wyeth. And I'm sure I know where he lived. I'm sure I've been over there for some fancy dinner. And I'm just going to show up on his doorstep and pound on the door.
With a dead body in tow in the carriage?
In my fist. I'm not even going to take a carriage. I'll use my magics to get over there.
All right. And so you whisk away into the night and arrive at his front door. You ring this doorbell, I assume, with a body there, and the door is opened by a stiff-looking gentleman. Can I? Good Lord, sir, is that man dead?
Tell the Lord I'll see him in his study. Give me 3 minutes, and then I'll walk back into the darkness and I'll etherically step with the body into the study, trying to freak this guy out as much as I can.
He watches as you sort of disappear. Ah! There's running in. You can hear from your vantage point inside of the study him hustling through and up the stairs. I'm going to cut back to Tertius and Baston as we have finished looking over this painting and you've had your bit of conversation. What are you going to do, Baston?
I'm not sure what our next step should be. I know that there is magics involved with the painting, but I don't know how they tie into anything. I don't know what value they have to others other than perhaps to discredit my brother, which I don't believe that would be worth this level of effort. So I think that there must be something more valuable here. I think what I'm going to confide in my brother here. I'm going to let Tertius know that, I'll say, brother, I have engaged the services of Uncle Howard to keep an eye on the what's the guy's name? The not the magistrate, the viceroy.
Right.
Viceroy's office. I have some memories that indicate there is some foul business going on, and I am endeavoring to find out what it is. I think if it can be uncovered, it can improve our family's position and possibly alleviate the need for any of these extreme measures that I have been contemplating. In the meantime, perhaps you would like to join me in searching the house for this other painting. This is Georgie. He's my oldest.
Nice. Hi, Georgie.
And yeah, I'll say, very well. I mean, this other painting would certainly be of interest to us, but do we have any leads on it? I mean, we know where this was painted, but as far as we can tell, no painting resembling this one has been seen in the vicinity.
Well, I think I can render the etheric wavelengths that I am sensing on this patch. Perhaps we can scan the house quickly for it, and then you and I visit town to speak with Uncle Albert to find out if we have discovered anything suspicious going on around the Viceroy's residence. So maybe we'll spend a little time, kind of going through the house, scanning for this energy wavelengths. Kind of, since we're starting on the upper floor, maybe go through the attic, then go down to the ground floor, then head into town, because I don't think we're going to find anything, but I'm hopeful.
All right, as you're kind of scanning your way up and down, from the top down to the bottom, you do kind of get a little bit of a hit as you are coming into the study. And coincidentally enough, as you see Jedman coming out of the study as well. Jedman, you have finished all of the bodies going down, and you had, kind of shut back the door and are coming back out of the stairway down to the canals. As you see Tertius and Bastion coming around the corner, I don't know if there's a full beep, 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 beep out of Bastion, but he seems to be a dog on the scent.
There's sort of like a purplish lightning thing that crackling across my central eye, and a glow shining out that pulses, but it's not really visible what's going on to anybody else. But I see the world as like, covered in, not exactly like the Matrix kind of thing, but similar in the fact that there's like little electric magical etherical tendrils crawling all over everything. And now, is the emanations that match coming from Jedman himself or coming from the wall behind the desk?
As you had come around, as you had been following this bit of track, the two of you having, you had hit on something, you get to the study, you see Jedman there. There is a faintness to it on Jedman, but that larger track had just sort of cut just as you were getting in there.
I look at Jedman very, very close, scanning his face and his features, and I overlay in my mind's eye Aris's faces and features and see if there's any kind of match.
Does not seem to be, no. No.
So I wonder if perhaps he was related.
That would have been awkward.
That would have been, wouldn't it?
I'll inform Tertius and say the emanations briefly seem to be coming from you, Jesmond, yet I cannot fathom what relation you have to the image that is in the painting of the young woman.
Could it be some other kind of etheric connection? I don't have a strong sense of magic like you do. I mean,
I have. This is actually Aris's territory. I have only recently begun to see into the etheric. I have yet to fathom its deeper meanings.
Well, Aris territory, I would say so. I mean, it is his mother in question, isn't it? Very casually dropping that knowledge again.
Where is Aris?
I don't know.
He mentioned some rash plan about Lord Wyeth and a corpse. I think.
He's going to turn Lord Wyeth into a corpse? How peculiar. This could reflect badly on the family.
No, it's not that bad. He's just bringing corpses to Wyeth.
Okay, so he's carrying the corpse around, or did
the
they
family business
fly
continues.
over there, or what? You know, in my business, it sometimes suffices just to bring a head. You can usually put that in a sackcloth and carry it around quite discreetly. And I assure you, it's just as intimidating to pull a head out of a bag. But I guess Eris is new at this whole business.
Well, seeing as Lord Eris or Brother Eris is not with us at the moment, I would like to continue the conversation of earlier where you, Terrace, were not present. I think I know Eris's opinion. He does not think of me as worthy. However, I would like to once again put forth myself for consideration as the new lord of the family. I have a cold logic. My only desire is for the betterment and furtherment of this family, our power and our abilities, and to provide every opportunity for my brothers and my dear friends looking at Jesmond to be able to pursue those interests which are of to themselves. I could also put forth that were I to be made lord of the manor, that I could allow myself to be curtailed in some fashion. Perhaps I am not altogether human, and I do not always understand the workings of the human mind. And maybe there are times where I could benefit from the counsel of my dear brothers without having to impose too frequently or too often upon your enjoyment of life.
Jedwin, Tertius, either of you have something to say after that statement of...
Why must there be a Lord Scurlock? Why even a Scurlock manor? I mean, Lord knows we're broke enough as it is. Why not sell the place, move on with our lives? I mean, how many bodies did he dispose of here? I don't know if it's a good idea for us to keep it anyway.
Well, were it not to be us, it would be somebody else, and it is better to have the power. You would have lacked all the resources you've had growing up were it not for our father and his father before him and his father before him. The family line provides for the family.
It hasn't provided for me. I've made my own living out there. It's been 30 years since that guy, gave me so much as a decent meal that I didn't come in and take from him.
Well, dear brother, if we can rebuild the family fortune, if we can repair the damage that has been done in recent years and restore the house to glory, imagine what benefit you could have with an imperial navy at your back.
Jedwin, anything you would like to add to this conversation as you're hearing them squabble?
Yeah, I think Jedmund's a little taken aback by Bastion at first, and then by the end of it, he looks very confused as he's watching this because of all of them right now in this moment, he's like making the most sense, and he's like, "What?" Reminds him of
Lord Scurlock.
Yeah.
And I am bleeding little bits. It's not as obvious as before when I was malfunctioning, but I periodically his intonation and cadence is bleeding through, and it's almost like my thoughts pause for a second, then pick back up. This sort of thing. It's almost like not really being controlled, but guided.
Okay. You're having this conversation. You by now, with this scan, the kind of residue of that etheric energy has dissipated off of Jedmund. And indeed, there's no sign of it anymore. And again, on the painting, it was super faint. It was really that you were so amazingly good at, scanning and so tightly on it that you'd seen even that little bit.
So what was Desmond handling the bodies Are the bodies still in the house?
You don't see them. Do you ask Jedman?
Jasmine, have you handled anything other than the bodies recently?
Nothing out of the ordinary, just
I'm trying to place the connection that I sensed earlier between you and the residue on the painting. Yet we intercepted those criminals before they ascended the stair. Therefore, I wonder what else they may have done while in the manor before Tertius noticed them. Perhaps we should examine the bodies more thoroughly before we discard them.
It'd certainly be nice if we could ask them, but it won't do as much good now, will it?
Well, perhaps you're right. Perhaps I was rash. But then again, perhaps you were rash when I first started the discussion.
You did it first.
Again, they would have. I mentioned, but if we would have sat there talking to them, they would have run off. There's a difference between running up on somebody with fisticuffs and killing them.
They would have had a great deal of difficulty getting past me and out the door when they were up the stairs from us.
There are windows up there. It's one floor down.
Let's not cry upon spilt mead.
Spilled blood. No use crying over spilled blood. The expression you're looking for, Bastion. No use crying over spilled blood.
I think Jedman's gonna latch on to what Baston said about examining the bodies. And he's gonna suggest, Bastion, we should go. You want to see the bodies? I put them down in the cellar.
Okay, so I trusting, follow right along.
So
I think Jedman wants to as he's leading him down, I think he would like to go like as close as he comfortably can to the door where he's heard Satara before. And he's going to be watching Bastion really closely.
All right. So you guys begin descending down. Tertius, are you going with them, or you have other things afoot?
I think I'm gonna go see if I can't catch up with Eris at the Wyeth Manor. I would hate to miss the whole scene over there.
All right. So, taking off as they go down, you go and hail a cab.
I'll probably make sure that painting is locked away in like a safe or something before I go. But
okay,
once that's secured.
Okay. Aris, you're standing in this study. You've got this dead body with you. As you can hear the kind of movement, and then you hear someone clomping. They have kind of a limp. You can tell that by the way they're clomp, 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 clomp. And you see coming into the study, you've seen Lord Wyeth before. He's an old man, probably late 80s. But you see he has a pistol, a cocked pistol, and he's kind of shaking. Aris Scurlock, what are you doing here? What the hell is that?
As I was waiting for him, I took my time to light the oil lamps in the room with that eerie flame. No need for that. Put it down. You recognize this, and I'm gonna cock the face so the eel markings are facing him.
You see a look of recognition and kind of little touch of fear. So he goes, I've never seen him before in my life. What is the meaning of all this?
Listen, I'm here because you want something from my father's house. I've got no claim to it. It sounds like they were looking for a painting. Is that all you're after?
I had heard that you had a painting. An artist told me and said that you might be interested in me coming by to make an offer. You can see he's nervous, and while he's dropped the gun from pointing at you, he's still got good hand, firm on it.
Sure. So I'll let the body fall onto his desk and say, "You didn't need to send these guys, though. Square with me. I can get you the painting. Is that what you want?"
Yes. Yes, I do want it.
Okay.
He stole my heart away from me. This at least would be something back.
Your heart.
My dear Annika, your father, he took what was most precious to me.
Is she not off venturing the wild blue then?
No.
Is she dead?
I often thought she would come back to me. I often thought that she would leave that odious little worm. But she never came back. She never went out in society. I never even saw her face again.
Listen, I'll get you this token of your love, if that is a thing. What are you going to give me for it? You've obviously got connections to the underground. Who do you know? What influence do you have there?
I have been known to work with some people of less scruples. That person looks like he was part of the Eel Gang. I have heard of them in the past.
How about this? I'll get you the painting. What you have to do for me is tonight, I need you to send an emergency envoy and get the eels to send a gang. I don't care. Have them chase a goose. Make up something they'll believe. But get a good lot of them out of their headquarters. And the painting's yours tomorrow morning.
You'll give it to me.
Yeah, what do I care?
You can see him. He's really giving you this close look. Like I say, you've seen him before, but it's always been a passing meeting. But he's really staring at you. For some reason, Scurlock, I trust you. Something about your eyes tells me that I can believe you. Fine. I will do this. Don't tell me why. It'll only cause me trouble.
Oh, you are wise. A snap, lights go out, disappear.
All right. Well, that was interesting. He's now got a body he's got to take care of, but
he's got servants.
Hopefully he's got a gentleman around to handle these sort of things.
It was his to begin with, I believe.
Tertius, as you're driving up to the house, you can, it's taken you, you had to kind of go across town a little bit, so it's taking you 20, 25 minutes. And so as you have arrived there, you can see two kind of disreputable looking guys heading out of the front door, and Lord Wyeth standing there telling them, please just get it taken care of quickly and quietly. I'm spending a lot of money for this. I expect you to do a good job. And as the two guys turn away, you see one of them, his kind of scarf slips, and you see the eel scar across his cheek. Don't worry. We specialize in making unpleasant people disappear, sir. And they start moving off. Door closes. What do you do, Tertius?
The two of them leave. I think I'm going to see if I can sneak in maybe and catch him by surprise.
Isn't he lucky? He's getting a whole load of Scurlocks tonight.
Mm-hmm.
How about
I wonder where Eris is, because he was reportedly going to be in this direction.
Mm-hmm. So why don't
But
we
maybe
roll-
it's just taking him a while to haul that body around.
I've got a scene idea here, and I'll leave it up to you, Tyler. I think I would be okay if we bumped into each other before leaving the manor, or if you think it'd be more interesting for him to have a conversation with Wyeth, then we can do that as well. But like I've used a lot of magic, so these blinks are starting to turn shorter and shorter and shorter.
All right,
So
I like that
I'm walking
thought.
at this point.
How's that work with you, Turdy? Does that sound good? As you're coming around the corner, there was a bit of that almost stage magician-y. You disappeared from there, but you only popped to the other side of the wall.
Yeah, precisely. I'm in the bushes and hoping they don't see me as he gives the orders.
All right. And so
I like I'm sneaking through the bushes and I bump into you.
I love it.
What the
All
hell,
right.
Tertius? What are you doing here?
What are you doing here?
Not getting far enough from you.
It does seem.
Although, this could be good. Have you gone and seen Cudger yet?
Not in the past several hours, no.
What are you, tea buddies? You see him every few days?
I've only been back for, a couple days. Saw him yesterday and made an impression on him.
I've got a proposition for you. Cudger's got his little turf here. He's got some prostitutes. He's got some drugs he deals. I want to make him more of a kingpin with connections to you. You not only will have the outer worlds, but a stronghold here in the capital. And I've got the pieces in place.
What do you mean?
Well, how many gangs are here in town? 5, 10?
There's 2 big ones and, a few piecemeal little bunches of hoodlums here and there outside of that.
How much could you deal and produce if Cudger was wrapped around your finger and he controlled most of the city?
Well, it's not just a matter of how much, but how much we could raise prices. For the only business in town, then quite a bit.
You are sick, aren't you? Anyway.
I mean, somebody's got to get this, Scurlock family above water again.
So the Eels have found themselves in a bit of trouble tonight. A few of their men are going to be missing from home base. What do you say, you and I take Cudger and his men? We go take over the Eels' territory. From there, it's just dominoes.
What are you doing over here then? That's the part that I don't understand.
Wyeth obviously had connections to the Eels, and I lift up my hand, forgetting that I don't have the body in my hand still. He helped me clear out home base.
Look, you might be biting off more than you think you are here. We take their home base, we take a few people out, they go underground. They don't have a home base, and all of a sudden we're, locked in a gang war that we don't necessarily have to be in with an enemy that we can't necessarily find or take down. I mean, you take out their home base, they'll move in someplace else.
You're kidding me, right? You saw what happened to those guys that got in the house. You really don't think that a few of them will consider switching sides when they see their friends' heads burst into flame? We've got the leverage. We can put Cudger in this position. It's you I'm looking out for. You're the one who's going to make the money on this.
Look, I mean, if this is what you want to spend the next few years focused on, that's fine. We've got a decent business here. I just don't understand what suddenly got you interested in this criminal underworld.
It was a good game of billiards. I felt sorry for you. I want to help you out.
I mean, we both won around. All right, look, if you think that you've got the eels where you need them, then sure, we can do some kind of takedown tonight.
That's all I wanted to hear. And I'll give him a kiss on the cheek. I'm not excited.
Wow. Okay. Lovely scene. I'm going to get our Jedman and Baston scene here underground. We'll take our break, and then we'll see how if we turn some keys, and then we'll do our final for the evening run up till 10. So, Jedman, you have led Baston down the stairs, and Baston, I don't think you've ever been here.
I have not. So, will Skatara reach out to Bastion in the same way that she has to the other brothers, or does she not recognize him?
She will not reach out the same as she's reached out to the other brothers.
So, and Jesmond is following behind watching me, but I am actually unaware of this. But as I pass that door, the purple lights that glow in my dome cap will kind of turn bright red. My arm will reach out and almost lovingly scrape across the door. The head will turn and say, "I will be with you soon." And then all of a sudden it turns back purple, and I march on without realizing what I just did.
I like that. I think I may build on it just slightly, if you don't mind.
Sure.
So, Jedman, as you see him and he turns back saying this, you can see almost like this ghostly image of Lord Scurlock around him. And standing behind him again in this ghostly figure is this beautiful woman. She has long white hair, pale skin, but at the same time, you can see a little bit of these features of Annika Wyeth as well. And she's got her hand on his shoulder, Baston's shoulder there, the illusionary sort of Lord Scurlock wrapped around him. And as he says this statement, "You've done very well, Jedman. One of the boys must take a title." Tick-tock, tick-tock. And as Baston sort of turns around, his steps mimic that tick-tock. Do you say anything, Jedman?
I think Jedman's a little floored by all that. I think he like mumbles something kind of like incoherently, like babbles a little bit. And then quickly changes the subject.
He didn't even realize any of that just happened. He's just like, "Which way, Bastion?" Or "Which way, Jesmond?"
And so you head down to that side, I guess the side place where the pier is, and there are the bodies.
Will there be anything to find here? Because if there's not, we can just say I do a cursory scan and find nothing. But if there is, then we can play this out.
As you have, come back to yourself and you're moving down this passageway and looking, and you're scanning, you do sense that same etheric signature there. And as you kind of look back over your shoulder, what had, just not registered to you before, that metal door has that glow of that etheric signature.
So it has nothing to do with the bodies at all, but that door. I will turn around and march back over to the door, and my head will swivel around. "Jedman, what is behind this door? I have never seen it before." And if you want, we can end the scene there.
I think that's pretty good.
Yeah. Unless Jasmine wants to jump in and
yeah, unless you have something to answer, Jeff.
Sorry, you cut out there just for a second, but it's the Satara door, right? That's what just happened. Yeah, yeah. Jedman's gonna say, that door, nothing important. You know, we store some junk in there. Don't bother with it.
And so we'll end scene there. All right, guys, let's take about 5 minutes. Then we'll come back. We'll test our keys, and we'll bring the family together. Perhaps perhaps the whole family, but at least some of them will be going on a raid against a gang. It sounds like.
So about 9:20.
Yeah, let's do about 9:20, 9:21.
All right.
See
See
you
you guys in
shortly.
a few minutes.
Thanks.
I got to say, that's gone a little different than I had imagined. I didn't anticipate a guy getting his neck broke right off the bat, and I hadn't quite anticipated Aris going off and throwing a dead body on a guy's desk.
It's turning into a very interesting one. I agree.
I want to see where Aris is going. There's some neatness to what's happening here that's really cool.
Well, I think maybe a little bit of meta until everybody comes back. I'm trying to get him so interested in trading and being out in the wild blue that he finally gives up on being the Lord Scurlock. I mean, I can't even get the robot disqualified, so we'll see.
All right. I have something we're gonna play with. That's all going to have to come to a head soon. So I have a plan here or there. We'll see how it goes. Okay. As soon as Robert gets back, y'all can go ahead and look and see if you have any keys you think you've turned in our scene so far tonight. We did. You had several scenes keys.
Let's see. What was the one that I took? I think it was the Key of the Scoundrel.
Yeah.
The extra one.
Jedman, you think you hit any of yours?
Yeah. I think the Key to Servitude.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the whole dealing with the bodies and doing all that stuff that he didn't really want to do, but did anyway.
I think that's true.
And Key to the New Path. So I was trying to sway the boys into not
be quite so
dealing with
murdery.
demons. Yeah. Yeah, essentially.
Did you feel like that kind of at the end? Well, I don't know. I guess we didn't see all the way enough to the end whether you hit that key of ruin when you saw the image, Lord Scurlock and the woman.
Yeah, I don't feel like it really turned.
Okay.
I think maybe as we're fading out for the night, I'd like to try to turn that one or buy that one off.
Okay.
But maybe when action has subsided or whatever.
Cool. Tertius, you think you turned any?
Yeah, sure. The Key of the Outcast, I've been defensive and suspicious.
You definitely have been hitting that one.
My question here would be the Dark Legacy. I don't know how involved Scurlock was in the criminal business. If he just had casual ties to it, or he was more involved in it. But that's the one that I think that me and Eris have really been pushing.
I think so too.
Okay.
Yeah.
So those are the two that I hit. I don't think I used the other two.
Okay.
I did get another advance. This was at the end of last session.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm taking Reaver, which lets me recruit pirates.
Excellent. Cool. Aris, did you turn any?
Yeah, the Key of the Dark Legacy and my new one, which is the Deal Maker.
Nice. Okay. And so you got. Sounds like everybody got two. We'll see. We'll see what happened with our Bastion. We've lost him for a little bit here.
I also got in advance, and I'm gonna take Gather Power from Arcane.
Ooh, nice. Okay. Well, while we're waiting then for Bastion to return, we'll do Tertius and Aris. You've kind of come to these preliminary plans. Are you, Tertius, are you heading off to Cudger to set this up, or what would you like to do?
So I've got kind of two things I want to have going on. I'm going to be heading off to Kudger, but I kind of run this by Eris as we're kind of figuring this plan out. And I'm like, look, if we're going to take these guys down, let's do it one clean kill.
All right.
If you have a sense of where those the other eels were sent off to, why don't we tip off the police on them so that, they'll get caught up there. We will take down their headquarters, and then it should be pretty easy for Kudger and us to mop up the rest of their crew.
I just cut the deal that he would send him off to God knows where. I don't think the police thing's gonna work.
You can't go back and just say, "Hey, I need you to get a little bit more specific."
You weren't in the room.
Actually, I overheard him sending them off. Do you think that I maybe picked up any kind of details on where they were headed?
Well, what do you think you heard then? Yeah, let's let you play that out then. So what'd you hear?
Well, all I needed really like a location that he was sending them to. I could even try to chase them down a little ways and figure that out.
That's a thought. Want to do that?
Yeah, so I'm going to dash off after them real quick. I just need to get a general sense. I kind of overheard a little bit of what what's his name was saying, what Lord Wyeth was saying. And I just need to kind of follow him a little bit to confirm, get a clear idea of where it is they're heading. So I'll be, trailing them for a little bit, which would be using my Sky Pirate, Scoundrel, Stealth for 2, and Tracker.
Alrighty, give it a roll up. And while you're rolling up, Robert, did you turn any keys during our last
I think I turned all 3 of them, actually. So the Dark Legacy, I'm definitely continuing with the following of Lord Scurlock's legacy, furthering his goals and pushing for his, plans, even though I'm not completely clear on what those are. Key of... Oh, that's not me. Where's me? So, Key of the Dark Legacy, Key of the machine, definitely acting in ways that is both confounding to me and confounding to everyone else with regards to, my mechanical nature and the realization of that actually dawning on Bastion that, he needs to tone it down a little bit, or at least try to be aware of it, even though he still doesn't quite understand it. And then the Key of Duty, I actually tried to protect so yeah,
I agree with you there. All right, so set your 3 down if you happen to click.
And I had 4, so that actually gives me 1. So all right, I'll be quiet and let you guys talk.
So pick something up. We'll come back to you in a moment. Tertius, how'd you do?
So I got 5.
Wow, that is phenomenally good. Okay, so you're creeping along behind them as they, move out of this good neighborhood and down towards where Kudger keeps his in warehouse areas. These guys seem to be living more in the slums. These are more residential. And so as you kind of are keeping them back from them, they're joined by a few more as they get into the neighborhood. But you're smooth as silk, keeping behind them. As they head into a kind of a little saloon, or calling it a saloon is really giving it too much credit. It's a place where people go and get drunk, is about all it is. But as you kind of edge in, keeping yourself to the shadows, you see them head up to a really thin, tall woman. You could see she has those eel scars, but she has a whole bunch of them on her face, and you see more of them on her arm. And there are more of these guys there kind of around her. But you're very good at keeping yourself from being noticed in this as you get close enough to get earshot. One of them says, "Yes, old Nobby Wyeth. He's paying us a small fortune, ma'am." "Well, I never liked him, but he does always pay." What's he wanting? Well, seems as though he's got some roosters sitting in his one of his businesses. Says they've been hanging out there for days. Bums, he says. Wants them gone. Says it brings down the property values. Can you imagine that? I like a good bum. Makes me feel better about myself. She goes, what's he want done with them? Wants them gone. Don't care how. But he's paying us 10 crown per. I say we could probably roust up a whole bunch with that, eh? Yeah, good idea. Take the boys. You happen to catch someone along the way, haul him over there with you. We'll give him a nice body count. That'll make him happy. And they start pointing out, as you see, good dozen and a half of them kind of heading out of here and being collected outside. She's still got a couple of her bodyguards there, and there's a couple more lounging here. But you get the impression she sent the vast majority of the gang out. As they're leaving, you hear one of them saying, over to the manufacturer, it's going to be hard to find people along the way. It's over there close to the bridge, though. Should be plenty of people underneath the bridge trying to stay warm.
Okay. Well, if they're all out and about, it might be hard to. I don't know what good taking the. I guess we'll be able to take out their leader. But I do want to.
You talked about the police being sicked on them. You know where the majority of them are going now.
Right. So I'm gonna give a discreet tip to the police. And then I'd probably want to go. I mean, I've got kind of quite a bit to do tonight, but I'd like to get Cudger informed as well as recruit some of my pirate friends.
All right, so you want to recruit some pirate friends to come help you with this job? Or you just want me to recruit some people?
I mean, I don't know. It would be with this job in particular. I mean, I don't know if I need to or not. I just kind of want some of my own guys on hand as we go about this because we're going to be negotiating with Cudger. We've got a whole gang to take down.
I think that seems like a good idea. All right then. So we'll cut on you a moment as you're heading off to collect. Are you going to collect pirates first or see Cudger first?
Pirates first.
Pirates
I think
first.
that I'll send. I don't know how word gets around town, whether they've got some kind of approximation of a telegraph or post or bird.
Generally, you'd have like a messenger boy. It's the old urchin thing. Hey, boy, go get me that goose, and handing them a dime or whatever, and he runs off.
Right. So I'll send that note off to Eris with very simple directions on where to get the police off to. And where you can expect to find most of the eels.
Cool. All right. And so you're going to collect some pirates. Meanwhile, Jedman and Bastion, you are there outside of the door.
Okay. So where we left off, Bastion had asked Jedman, what's this door? And Jedman had said, nothing, don't worry about it. It's, we store stuff in there. And, my head, my body stays completely motionless, but my head swivels towards him and the eye kind of like rotating. Really, what sort of things do we store behind the store?
Nothing interesting, chairs, stuff.
No, the eye actually rotates like screws out like maybe a quarter of an inch towards him. There's a very long, uncomfortable pause, and then very well. And Bastion will turn and start walking up the stairs.
Phew.
He bought it. Oh, you guys head upstairs. Aris, where were you going?
So I think as he went skulking about, we would have arranged for me to meet him back at the manor, and then we'd go to Cudger's. So I'm gonna get a couple drinks in me. I'm still angry from the fight. I'm starting to feel a little tired, so I'm gonna get juiced up to go fight again.
Are you telling Jedman or Bastion y'all's plan?
No.
Okay. So, Bastion, Jedman, y'all come up. Aris is having a quiet drink.
In the study.
Probably in the study. That's where the best booze is.
Bastion is going to do three things. First, he's going to go upstairs, and as he passes by Aris's room, he's going to leave a small wooden box on his pillow with one of those 12 trinkets, the occult trinkets that go with the book, in it. Leave it on his pillow, along with a scorched bit of leather and metal from his side of his head. Then he's going to go up to the lab and replace the broken bits, as best he can, short of doing full maintenance, repair the broken bits. Then he's heading into town to speak to Uncle Alwyn.
Okay, who's been watching Viceroy Skeen's place.
Yes.
Okay. So you leave your gift. You do a quick, still looking a bit of a mess, but at least not liquid fluids.
Yeah.
And you head out of the house. Jedman.
There's still every once in a while a little puff of ether or electroplasm kind of like jets out to the side. But yeah.
And Jedman, what are you going to be doing, sir?
I think Jedman is putzing around the house. He's got the whole Satara thing on his mind, and he's maybe like going through any books he can find and research, and he's just trying to he can feel how like things are building. And
all right. My question is there something to roll for in this to see? I think we will. To see if you find a little something, some tidbit of knowledge. Do we see a place where you could pull up a pool from? I think off your servant and savvy, you have some nice things.
Mm-hmm. So servant, attentive, savvy, educated. History, occult. I actually have a buy off from I went up to 10, so I could unlock demons too.
If you went up to 10, you have 2.
Well, I did the 5.
Back. Would you like to? Spare. Okay, you could buy off that demons as you're studying through here, and this is taking you some time as you're studying. So that takes you up to 9 dice.
That's pretty good. Are
we getting cluttered? Hang on 1 second, and I'll dip off dice.
Oh, quick, good call.
There. I'm going to delete those selected, and now you can set yours up. And if you wish to add some of your own in, you can as well. 9's a lot, though.
Yeah, I think 9's yeah, I'll see what happens here. Oh my. 1, 2, 3. It's a lot of 1s.
Ooh, that was a lot of 1s.
You rolled 9 dice and got just 3.
That's awful, isn't it? It's still labeled as a great success. So it's as you're looking through these books, and you're pulling them down, and some of them, they seem, you've seen Lord Scurlock when he would read through them. So these are where you're starting from. And you find some of these books that have in them remember you had found those plates that make the images that was like a little flip book, but it was the plates for it. You find where he's left some of the actual, where it would have been printed on as bookmarks, paper as bookmarks. As you're studying through this, it is discussing the transference of the soul to the afterlife. These are all discussions about that. Means for people to talk to the dead. Means for people to control those that are dead. But where he seems most interested and where your eye falls, he's studying how to hold the soul and implant it elsewhere. Take the soul of the dead and put it into another vessel.
All right.
And reading all these are all demonology books. This all draws upon the power of the infernal.
Right. Perfect.
All right. So you've spent an evening studying. As Bastion, you said you were going downtown. What are you doing down? Oh, you were going to meet Uncle Abelard.
Alwart, I believe.
Oh.
Yeah. Also, if anyone noticed while I was walking out of the house, now one of the darker gems on my back, the blue one actually has lit up, and I took politics. I unlocked politics under interface as my level up thing. So I can unlock one thing, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like a good thing. So yes, I want to. Bastion is going to, as slyly and as stealthily as Bastion is capable of, which is not very. He's going to go down to the tavern where Albert hangs out, and walk up to the bar and order two of whatever Albert drinks, mead or honey mead with whatever, and walk over and sit down, say, "What have you discovered?"
Oh, Bastion, how good to see you again.
Slide the large goblin over toward him.
Oh, thank you. Well, I remarkably or not, Viceroy Skeen has a great many guests. Some of them of high stature, some of quite low. But I did discover one little rather unusual thing. Do you remember that Mr. Plum who came to my poor brother's funeral?
Mr. Plum is the one that
works for Cudger.
Yeah, works for Cudger. Ah, the enforcer. Interesting.
He brought a rather large bag, but left it there.
Really? That is exactly the kind of information that will prove valuable in the days to come. You're sure that this was Mr. Plum that you saw?
Oh, it was that same gentleman that was at the funeral, yes. I don't forget a funeral face.
Carried a large bag in. Have you noticed any other characters about?
As I say, he gets a great many guests. He has, of course, his own. The military guards the Viceroy house.
Very good, very good. I'm going to slide one crown from. I'm assuming I have some personal money, probably not much, but a little bit, or better yet, a valuable trinket from the Wild Blue. I'm sure I have something that I've collected in my years of travel that's not super valuable, probably buy him a good time on the town for a night kind of thing. So
right.
just as a down payment toward future service. So I keep my word, and I slide over, said, those who are loyal to the family will be rewarded. Stay stealthy. Stay alert.
You, nephew.
If you notice anything else suspicious that should come to the family's attention, send one of the orphans to me to inform me immediately.
Yes, of course. Orphans. And
orphans go about without being noticed.
All right, you head
I
out.
promise the orphan sent as a messenger, no harm shall come to them. In fact, I will ensure that they are treated well. Right.
All right.
So,
Tertius, you have been recruiting down by the docks, right?
real quick,
Yes.
just so you know what Abash is doing after that, after he leaves the tavern, he's heading to see Lord Holpine.
All right.
So, okay.
Okie doke.
I release the rain.
Tertius.
It's a busy night in town.
It is. Everybody's all over.
So yeah, I'm heading to the docks to recruit my guys. I think that my ship has pulled in, sometime in the course of the day, and I'd like to go and recruit my guys pretty quickly. Bring my small gang of guys over to talk with Cudger, fill him in on the plan, the opportunity, as it were.
It looks like you're traveling a little heavier with the boys there, forming up your own gang, Tertius.
Well, there's a great deal afoot tonight, and an opportunity has come up that you're certainly going to be interested in. I'd like to introduce you to Rodrigo. He's my lieutenant. If I'm ever away, which I probably will be, he'll be my representative here in town.
Rodrigo kind of tips his hat and Dodger says, "Oh, all right. What opportunities you talking about there, Tertius?"
We could very easily cut the head off of the eels tonight.
I've been after them eels for years. What makes you think tonight's so special?
Well, my brother Eris has helped me arrange it so that most of them will be off clearing the bums out from under the bridge.
Mr. Hoity-Toity Aaron Aris Scurlock is going to be helping us.
Well,
take down.
I got...
Did you cut me out of this? Did the orphan not tell me where we were meeting?
He's just getting Cudger ready to go do the thing with you.
Oh, okay. So they're gonna come. Gotcha. My mistake.
Yeah. He's like, You're telling me your brother is gonna bring magic to help us?
He's loosened up a bit. He's somebody that I think we can trust when it comes to this. That we can trust when it comes to this.
Well, I'll say if you trust him, and hell, if I get caught, nobody will be particularly surprised. Two Scurlocks go down, and it's going to be hell all over the city. So,
I've seen with my own eyes that the eels have mostly left their headquarters. We go there now, practically undefended. A few guards between the two of us and our men will easily take them down. Their men, unfortunately, are going to run into some of the city guard, the city watch tonight. They're walking into a bit of a trap, so they'll be disposed of.
I'll be damned, Scurlock, you're getting more and more like your dad all the time.
In any case, most of their men will be off the streets for the time being. Their headquarters and their leader completely defenseless nearly completely defenseless at the moment. We move in there, take over, and split the spoils.
I've been wanting to dance around in Liza's gut for a long time, Tertius. All right, you say you got it set up. Me and the boys are happy to go along with it.
All right, then off we go.
All right. So you sent word back to Aris?
Mm-hmm.
All right. You guys are kind of forming up a little distance away. Aris, as you arrive, you see that Tertius has, there's close to 30 people here with it.
Oh, I see you brought some of your own friends.
Well, yeah, my ship's gotten back in port. They had a little business to take care of, but, now they're here, ready to help.
Best to get the crews integrated early. I like it. And then I think we're just ready to go.
All right. You guys start heading towards this bar where you're going to basically just go and bum rush the place and blast the hell out of it. It sounds like. Cudger is sending his people around to get to the back so nobody can get away. You're kind of spreading out this way. Cudger is suggesting that a small strike group hit that front door and its guards to get rid of them as fast as possible. Do the two of you wish to be involved in that first initial strike force and go in?
Well, I've got it. It makes enough sense to me that one of us goes in, one of us keeps an eye on the exits. I think that with Eris's raw destructive power, it might be better if he stays on the outside. With my brawling and sword fighting abilities, it makes as much sense for me to go in there.
Yeah,
all
let
right.
the pawns do their work so the queen can step in and take out the king.
It's phrases like that that make them look at you funny, Aris. But you guys are, you start initiating your plan. Meanwhile, Bastion, you were saying you were doing.
Yeah, Bastion is going to see Lord Holpine.
Right.
I'm assuming this is
Okay,
earlier in the evening. But given we only have a handful of minutes left, if you still want to end at 10,
Yeah.
I will defer my scene till next session if you want to play out the.
Yeah, I think if you don't mind, then I think I'll do
I
that.
don't
I'll have
mind
you.
at all.
You're traveling to Holpine, which will be perfect. We'll start that off. Jedman, as you are sitting there, you've been reading through these books. You're coming to this realization as it's getting, late into the night, nearly midnight. And as you are studying this and it kind of hits you, oh my God, this is what he's planning. This is what he wants to do. You could hear this like faint footsteps, and a smell kind of comes to you. It smells like the canals, but it also smells of Lord Scurlock. That smell of the lotus flower, the smell of his brandy. And you look up and you see him there, just sort of faintly outlined, looking at you. Do you say anything, Jedman?
Jedman stares up at him in disbelief. Says, "Are you here? It's been a long day, but I swear you're here. Still."
I will never leave, Jedman. This is my home. I shall never leave it. I know you want to protect the boys. Someone must be Lord Scurlock. Someone must open the door. But there is a way. Until there is a new Lord Scurlock, there is still an old Lord Scurlock. And he looks back as you follow his gaze out the back window to the freshly mounded earth in the yard. When you turn back to him, he's gone.
My internet's being really wonky. I feel like I missed key parts of that.
I'm going to.
That was great.
I'm going to give a summary down in as this ghostly Scurlock tells you that to open that door, there must be a Lord Scurlock, and he knows that you're trying to protect the boys, and until there's a new Lord Scurlock, there's always the old Lord Scurlock, as he looked back over towards the freshly dug grave, and you followed his gaze, and then he disappeared.
Gotcha.
And we're going to kind of flash from that to bursting in the front of this bar. I believe, right? It's a full rush in. Tertius, you're in the lead here. I'm going to have you just kind of it's not for an immediate action, it's going to kind of cover the fight in here. Why don't you build up a pool for that? Aris, standing out there, catching these coming out. Why don't you build up a pool for what you're doing there? Let's see how impressive the two of you are in this fight.
All right. So I've got Sky Pirate, Dashing. Oh, wait. No. Outcast, Survivor, 2 for Fighter, Blades, and Tough. I don't think we can pull Underdog since we're completely overwhelming them.
I think you're probably right there. So that's 6. You're going to add in any of your own.
I think that we're probably coming up on maybe a refresh soon anyway. So I think that I will spend 2 on this one.
Okie doke.
All right.
Let's go ahead and roll yours out then.
2 up there, 6 fresh ones. I'll put the 6 dice in and let those go where they lie, and re-roll the 2 right after that. So these 2 are getting re-rolled. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go.
Excellent. That's superb. So why don't you describe a little of what it looks like as Tertius just has superb fighting skills through these folks.
Well, we're not taking a lot of prisoners in this operation. Anybody who's, isn't unarmed and cowering in a corner is going to get brutally murdered. So we charge in there. I've got, probably between this and the back door this and the side door, we've got, 15, 20 people coming in there, slashing and hacking through the crowd. We make quick work of them. We're cutting throats, stabbing people in the chest, letting the.
Do you face off against Liza?
Yeah, sure. What's she armed with?
As she jumps up, she pulls out this kind of a hatchet, basically, in one hand, and the other one she's got a pretty good sized knife. She kind of is getting in here in a fighting stance. It's a street brawl fighting stance.
I think I'll distract her for a minute while Rodrigo goes up behind her and stabs her in the back.
Perfect. As you witty banter at her, and she's just getting madder. And as she comes in, there's and she drops.
And I think as we clean the place up, we're also getting ready to burn it down. We've got a cask of vodka from the back. We're getting ready to light the place up, because once we leave this place, we're not going to leave, anything worth a dime we're going to take, or worth anything worth a serious amount of money we'll take with us. But the rest of the place we're going to let burn. All
right, Aris, you're out there as some of these people are trying to flee. What are you doing, and how did you roll?
I forgot to roll. I made my pool. Hold on.
Let me clear these other dice out of the way.
You're on mute, though.
All right. So I got 4 successes, and I'm just I'm picking off anybody who slips past, anybody who's running through. Just a spurt of flame here, spurt of flame there. I'm in like my Super Saiyan mode again, floating a couple feet off the ground, laughing hysterically.
Do you think that are you hitting enough of like a moment? Are you angry? Do you think you're getting that condition? Is it making you? Are you actually filled with anger, or is it more amusement?
Yeah, no, I think anger is I'll take the condition anger, and as I can hear things quiet down inside, I'm gonna float in through one of the upper windows, and loud booming voice say, "Anybody who's left from the eels, who if you want to join Cudger, come to me now." And I assume maybe a couple, not many, are even left. and I'm just going to stick my hands on the side of their face and burn off the marks that they had cut to make themselves eels.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it just sears, extremely painful, but that's the price of getting in with the wrong lot.
the other wrong lot.
Exactly.
And as you
Frank into the fire, as it were.
and as the two of you leave, Cudger's boys have got a few of the others. The pirates are, they're experienced looters, so they're grabbed up some of the cool shit and they put it in a bag. And I imagine it's you, Aris, that turns around and casts that gout of flame to hit that vodka, the booze that they've left there. Does that sound good?
Yeah, absolutely. Just one shot straight into the middle of the room, and
it just explodes up, fire burning bright into this neighborhood. You can hear people in the apartments around screaming, "Oh God!" as you and the gang flee the scene. And I think that is indeed where we're going to stop tonight.
Awesome.
If we'd like, we all did we get a key? I don't think you got a chance to go, Baston. But did anybody feel like they hit a key? Jedman, did you feel like did you want to give a reaction to what that was? I know you were having some internet trouble. Do you want to try and have this be the turning of that key of ruin?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So how do you react to this ghost?
Well, I think he's like kind of without words while he's there until he disappears. And then he's just like, he's thinking, and he's, you know, he feels all of this coming to fruition, and he knows that like he's got to get past all this. Like all the guilt and everything that he has for what he's done.
Mm-hmm.
So he gathers up a couple like things that bring back memories. And he goes down in the cellar and he brings his pipe and he sits down there, and it's like super uncomfortable and like really bad. But he just like, he spends the whole night down there, like eventually gets some sleep, but he's just like, yeah, this is done. This is enough. Like,
nice. So are you buying off your key of ruin?
Yeah, that's what I'd like to do. Yeah.
Excellent. All right. And so having lost, yes.
I do think I could possibly pull off the Dark Legacy key with my leaving of the trinket for Eris and my interactions with Uncle Alward. Maybe the key of the machine, but definitely not the key of duty.
I can see that Dark Legacy. I think that's a key that got turned.
All right.
And Jedman, I like buying that off. That after trying so hard, it just comes down to, fuck it. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
Yep.
That's pretty cool. All right, guys. Anyone else felt like they hit a key? Just to Michael?
I would say that maybe I push Charming Scoundrel with what's his name, with Cudger.
I think so too. I think that works. Get your new key in.
And I'm also, I don't know how you feel about this, but I've mostly kind of lost interest in the Key of Vice. I think that Tertius is just kind of too busy right now to keep smoking all the time. So I think he maybe throws what he's got left on him into that fire as he walks off.
Do you think there was an element of boredom that made you smoke it, and that this is now you're seeing something that's going to be?
I think so. Yeah. That, like, you know, he's got like so much going on right now. You know, he's got not just the skies and fleeing from all this, but he thinks he can reclaim whatever the town's called again. I keep forgetting the name of it. Elysium.
Elysium.
Yeah.
Excellent. I think that's
cool. Would you
cool
mind
too.
if I took a point with that? I feel like I helped open up a lot of that doors.
Sure.
Seem good? Awesome. All right. And did you turn a key, you think, Spence?
No, it was all just a continuation of what had been set up previously.
Cool. Well, I thought that was fun. I will say that I was so flustered all day. I do feel like I came in a little less prepared than I would like to, but you guys took it and ran, and it seemed like it was exciting. It's a hell of a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, definitely.
It's just sad there's only one session left, you know.
I think we're coming to a head, though. We're really ramped up to where something's gonna happen.
Yeah,
I think we can drive this train wreck home.
Yeah, I definitely. I think someone or something is going to get broken badly next session. There's no way to avoid it.
I am curious. How much of this is you actually have the plot plotted out, and how much of it is just naturally evolving through the discussion?
They give a lot of very vague stuff. I mean, you have the play material.
Yeah.
I had a plan kind of for this Sitara seduction of the boys. The idea that, we've got to have a Lord Scurlock, we've got to have the key, trying to seduce the boys into choosing one of them. But a lot more of it is us just reaching out. We ended up with so much of the, with Michael bringing in the Black Lotus and that being shared with his dad, that opened up this Cudger storyline to be bigger. And we've really, kind of moved into the girls being killed. That kind of evolved in my mind as we started. I hadn't quite had that fixed to begin with, but it's a lot of it is just storytelling out. These Harper games are a lot of that.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
I like it. I like Harper games. I think they're neat. I love the mechanic. Well, gentlemen, remember we're playing just next week. We're not skipping a week, so we will be playing next week and finishing up, and I cannot wait to see you all again.
Yep. Right. Awesome. Thanks again, Tyler.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Will you be posting these early, or?
I'll put the link up for this one sometime tonight or tomorrow.
Great. Fantastic.
And then I'll put the other two up in the roundup when they're done.
Have a good night, guys.
Bye, y'all.
Awesome.
See you guys.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.